in that Syndra lane. It is a bit more of a skill matchup, but definitely Ekko favored, especially once he does get off that first back and maybe comes back in lane with something like a Dark Seal. I don't realistically love things like, again, double AP soul lanes or even laners that can't set up the Taliyah combo well. I feel like that's one of the reasons we haven't seen Taliyah have a high win rate at this tournament, which you highlighted earlier. She has been struggling. Even beishang himself is just one win, 2 losses on this champion. You don't really have great ways to set up the Taliyah burst, really only the Leona point and click stun. So I feel like WE's comp will be a bit harder to execute. In top esports, just very standard front-to-back team fighting. You have great lockdown, you have great burst, you have DPS. It checks all of the boxes.
Strong 2v2 with Graves, Syndra pairing we've seen many times in both LPL, Demacia Championship. And we're staring down the barrel of top esports starting 2021. As strong as they entered 2020. Ladies and gentlemen, it's...
I feel like this game for WE needs to be built off early game advantages. You don't have a ton of DPS if this does go later on into the game. I don't think they have a great way of killing 369's Malphite if we are in a neutral game state. If we are, a lot of the heavy lifting is going to have to come from Shanks finding, good flanks or abusing the fact that he can win out in the side lane against Knight and, maybe take priority from there and force tempo advantage, get some numbers advantage as well, maybe 5v4 team fights. But point is, right, that's a lot more difficult than just top esports who group up mid, you go in together, 369 finds a nice ultimate, JackeyLove follows with his ultimate as well. You have room for Knight to hit a good scout of the week, and you pretty much just win from there. So I definitely feel like this is slightly top esports favored, but potential for Shanks to do big work with Knight on an immobile carry like Syndra.
Be a really big statement heading into next year as well, right? When Shanks is replacing Teachama, when WE had a fundamental gameplay style in 2020, and Shanks is the LDL mid laner who everyone was waiting for. This is his first kind of official tournament, so it's good to see that he's here and, in the finals, but now against Knight it's going to be a big step up as both junglers are starting on the red side, opposite sides of the map here, Lyric.
Yeah, and, going back to Shanks specifically, he obviously was on WE's LDL team in spring where they did win that split. Joined WE in summer as a sub, didn't play any games of LPL because WE didn't feel like he was performing well enough in scrims and didn't want to mess with the formula that they had. As we see a bit of trading in topside, but doesn't really equal out to anything. So going back, it is great to see that Shanks is getting that chance here. And again, I think definitely showing himself to at least be a mid-tier LPL mid laner with a lot of room to grow, plays a lot of different champions. Decent in laning phase, has had some decent team fights. The Orianna ultimates we were seeing in game 1 were quite nice, and just like the rest of the WE members, this player has a lot of fight in him, and they're looking for every opportunity they could, and that's something you can respect out of WE.
And the laning phase already has done a decent amount of trading against Knight, of course. On the top side, 369 losing out on these trades. It's rock solid abs versus rock solid body, and 369 already getting pushed against his turret.
And I'm interested to see how this matchup changes in mid lane with the changes to Dark Seal, because one of the great things about the old Ekko matchup, especially when we saw it a long time ago in the likes of like season 7, season 8, was you back at level 3, you recall with the Dark Seal, you have the Corrupting Pot already, so the increase sustain from the pots, the mana it gets you. You could pretty much just spam your Qs and not have to play an interactive laning phase with the Syndra until 6 onward when you do win out in that matchup. Obviously, Dark Seal lost some mana. Dark Seal lost the interaction with potions and just gained more ability power. So, and it gained some health as well. So, going to give you a bit of durability, but definitely changes the dynamic of the mid lane matchup.
It does. The Scout of the Week comes through from Knight, but he's low on mana himself. Has a biscuit in the inventory, but just going to run out to auto attacking in this wave. Has parallel convergence to the setup. Look at where beishang is, though. Seismic Shove comes through. Draw flashes away. That's a Summoner Burn.
Also, Breathe, roam down from top to look for a fight mid, and trying to take this Scuttle Crab away from Karsa. Karsa doesn't have Smite, but still, Breathe.
Can get slowed down here. Haymaker is going to be a lot for the shielding, but not necessary. Breathe will heal that one up as well.
Breathe going to be a few CS behind because of that play he just made, so missed out, looks like, on about 3 creeps to the turret. So 369 just straight chillin', as Clement Shu would say, in the top lane.
I would also like to point out that, at this point in the game, when we've seen a couple of Summoners burn, when we've seen beishang trying to be proactive, it kind of gets us talking about, you know, the interactions. You talked about you didn't like the double AP interaction. I'm just pausing because bottom lane's a bit aggressive. You didn't like the double AP interaction from beishang and from Shanks. And, you know, we already see beishang trying to go to that AD lane, the CC lane with Missing as well, which makes a lot of sense here in the early game.
The thing is, you just incentivize so much for Knight to buy early Merc Treads. You even have a lot of like CC coming in on the side of WE, so getting that tenacity, getting that MR, it's going to be really hard to take him down. And pretty much all the members of Top Esports can very easily itemize Merc Treads, and they're going to feel a lot of safety coming out in these skirmishes and team fights against WE's members. We definitely see that Top Esports damage profile is like a lot better mixed, right? We have AP soul laners, JackeyLove who's mixed, and then a full AD jungler, so
yeah,
gonna be harder to work against later on.
One who is up a bit of CS here in this jungle as well, helping Knight push, because look at where Shanks is. He's trying to get his back off, and Knight with the help of his jungler. I mean, this is something we've seen a lot from Top Esports. Even Draw here with the minion dematerializer, making sure Shanks can't back.
And we already see that Shanks did get earlier back, right? Did pick up the Dark Seal like we expected, as well as the Doran's Ring. So it seems like that's the adaptation to keeping the same amount of sustain that you had before, is also picking up the D-Ring. Still going to get his back off. We do see that Top Esports got a bit of vision bot side, and it seems like both teams are kind of waiting for a good opportunity to look to take this Dragon. TS maybe hoping that, you know, they can't spot anyone out bot side, just directly turn to that with the prio they have in mid lane. But WE, of course, are here and are clearing out the vision and scouting it for themselves. Maybe potentially going to look for a gank in the bottom lane.
Always helps when you have that blasting wand early, right? beishang's been sitting on that. That was his first item of choice. Of course, with rock surfing, getting the mobility early. Doesn't need the boots, but Top Esports making a play onto Missing. He might have to flash over the wall of Dragon as teleport's burnt from 369. He has the rock solid in his hand. He throws it at the flashless Leona. You know what? Now, Dragon secured with first blood going over to JackeyLove.
I love how right after 369 ults, he just starts channeling his recall right away, too, just knowing that Missing's going to go down, giving that one over to JackeyLove. And it goes back to what we talked about only a minute ago, right, that both of these teams are looking for an opportunity to take Dragon. WE wanted to go for the bot lane gank, as we saw Missing hovering around Krugs to look for it. He did get spotted out, 369 channeling a nice TP. We don't see that Breathe has a good opportunity to follow. So TS just take the kill and take the first Dragon of the game.
Look at where 369 is. He'll make it back in perfect timing. Thornmail in his inventory gets the assist, and down in the bottom lane, JackeyLove has triple longsword and pickaxe. So this is a very good start for Top Esports with 500 gold in their name. Infernal to start the game off. Lyric, we don't have our next dragon in top left, so I guess we just don't have a dragon at all. I'm very curious as to what's coming up next.
I kind of like the surprise, right? We got a surprise out of... We get a surprise game one with Blind Pick. We got a surprise last game with kind of how the wonky drafts ended up.
Didn't see it. You like surprise. I don't like surprise. Christmas is the time for surprise. Anything after is just baloney, brother. I don't agree with that whatsoever. Hey, at this point in the game, where do you want to see beishang? I want to bring us back on track because this Taliyah pick so far hasn't done too much bar a flash. I've answered my own question, haven't I? 369 without an ult.
We're going to see it top, but I don't think I necessarily care to see it top.
No, well, we'll see if they kill 369 with that good dodge. Maybe not. Out from the sweet spot, too, as Shanks is coming in. And straight out with the Chrono Break. Good play from WE.
Yeah, really aggressive play coming in. They did have to burn a flash, but still, they pick up a kill. I don't know how impactful this is going to be. You do get some gold onto Shanks. You're going to be able to pick up the Herald as well, but... It seems like, especially looking towards their bot lane, Samira's been a champion that we've seen, if she doesn't get ahead early on, is quite useless with how her play pattern interacts, right? Wanting to get close into the fight, stack up those style points, ult, get the resets for your E to keep dashing in and far forward.
Ow. Knight didn't get the blue buff, by the way, but we are going to see another fight through the mid lane. Scout of the week at the ready. Shanks has no ulti. Headbutt pulverize there. Good stun up as Unleashed Power is available for Knight. Parallel Convergence on the spot. Shanks will get the shield, but Malphite in once again with the Unstoppable Force, waiting to be used to burn a flash. beishang with the Seismic Shove. Jiumeng out on the side as well, and Knight picks up his kill.
Another good pick coming in from the side of Top Esports. They didn't even really need to blow that many ultimates, right? They only used the ultimate coming out from Knight, so they still have that Malphite ultimate there to set up for another future fight. Even though we don't have a Drake timer, we do expect Drake to be coming up, you know, within the next minute or two. So going to have a very good opportunity for Top Esports to look for and engage with all of your tools available to you.
And we're just building up towards that next objective. Top Esports with the CS advantage in the mid lane especially. Turret plating going down on the bottom side is huge with the kill on top of that. So JackeyLove is very far elevated in this third game. And it seems like a really good start. With the comps we talked about in mind, it does feel like Top Esports to pace this out becomes so much easier as Showstopper in the top lane. 369. He is slowed down though, thanks to Malphite's thickness.
We do need to remember that WE always has a way of getting onto Knight in the back line and like potentially finding a pick that leads to a winning fight, with the fact that, again, they have an Ekko and they're going to have this stride breaker set. So always going to be able to find a way onto these immobile carries.
Immobile carries, Lyric. I mean, something we've talked about quite a lot before is like backline access, right? It does feel like we will be talking about that a lot in the game. Maybe that's just the meta. Maybe that's just the way the game is developed, where we do have a lot more gap-closing champions in the meta right now with how everything's panned out. Junglers, though, more importantly. We've got beishang topside with Herald. We've got Karsa on the bottom side, and I'm not sure if he spotted out. He actually backed, and he's sitting at base. So this is for WE, a bit of a push.
So they're going to get a bit of a gold injection. They're going to, it's going to be a nice a win for them. At the same time, maybe Breathe can start using this to, push and rotate. You aren't necessarily looking to win in that straight 1v1 against the Malphite. Interact with the rest of the map, start hovering towards mid, look for picks on tonight. So you just gained a pressure point from the side of WE that you can play through and try to gain more advantages from. I don't necessarily think it's the most impactful one, but with the way the early game is shaken up, right, a win is a win for the side of WE. And with Dragon now going to come up soon, we already see Top Esports looking to gain control of that. But Breathe now can just walk straight towards the bottom side of the map. Doesn't need to care about top wave at all.
Has the half-bound axe, so he's got a bit of extra movement speed in his kit coming up to this fight. The Showstopper almost up and available once again as WE move their core unit through this choke. And looking across the board, most summoners are actually up and available for WE. Same for Top Esports, bar 369's TP. So he's walking down with ult in hand. This is going to be a full 5-on-5.
Yeah, for Top Esports, keep your eyes on 369. For the side of WE, it's all about Shanks. Like we said, he needs to find that access onto someone like Knight and try and you really zone him out of the fight for WE to win.
Has the Hextech alternator and blasting one. There's going to be quite a bit of burst damage already coming through. Is Missing and beishang moving down. That was dangerous because now draw flashes in. It's responded by beishang. JackeyLove doesn't tag there with the W coming through from his kit. And for Top Esports, now they have a wave to push. And for WE, burning that flash might have been big.
Yep, so now they still have 369's ultimate to punish the flashless beishang and Missing. So they got to be careful. But hey, Top Esports going through the process. They're going back to mid to push out that way, but Jgl is getting caught out.
Yeah, Zenith Blade doesn't connect though, so Solar Flare used for Unbreakable will. Ult for ult. We continue to toggle off as JackeyLove sticking in the lane. He tags Missing and trying to stay out of range of the Zenith Blade. There's 369's here. 369 has flash as well. With his ultimate available, Sett uses it first. He's waiting at the ready. Hit 3 members of JackeyLove. Goes into the fight, but Draw is knocked back. Jiumeng pops his ulti. It's Reset City, but he doesn't have enough mana. Might not matter until Shanks comes in for the cleanup crew. 369 running away. And it was perfectly done from WE. He flashes in the end. And WE now going to use the Weaver's Wall. Seismic Shove. A little bit too far to the left, but it is a WE win.
Both teams playing it so patiently. You saw that Top Esports were trying to be the aggressors, trying to walk forward and kind of group WE up enough to where we can see 369 find a nice ultimate. But it was instead Breathe who ulted 369 back away from the rest of his carries. Breathe still was able to find, 369 was able to find a 3-man Malphite ultimate. Didn't really equal out into anything because it didn't look like Knight was in a good position to deal damage. And now WE are going to be the ones to pick up this dragon.
The second Dragon's Ocean. Our time is still dead, ladies and gentlemen, but it is a Cloud Rift as we can see on the back end there. So no Mountain for this team, but no Engage coming until late for Top Esports.
Yeah, and we see that the Engage comes in. Jiumeng, though, able to kind of ult backwards out of a lot of the damage threats, then goes forward to try to zone Knight out. Shanks able to take down Karsa. And again, Knight just not in a great position to lay out a lot of his AoE damage to multiple members on the sides of WE. He was really only able to get a few orbs off onto Jiumeng. Still, that is impactful, but it felt like a lot of the damage had already been done by the members of WE.
And now for WE, gold lead here in this game to the tune of 1,000 with the next Herald spawning. Top Esports are out on the map first, but we'll see if they look to contest, because Lyric, we have those mythics coming across the board once again. I am looking towards the top lane. I think it's Stridebreaker once again for our friend Sett. Yes, the main go-to item for our top lane Sett so far in the tournament.
We have also seen, I think, one Sunfire Aegis, but been primarily about this Bruiser Sett getting on the back line. Feels like Riot introduced a bunch of mobility creep, you know, in the new season. Everyone has access to mobility and ways to get onto the back line of fights. But pretty much across the board, right? We have the Gale Force coming out from Karsa, so he's also going to have an extra dash as well. Kraken Slayer and Shield Bow coming out from JackeyLove and Jiumeng. So a lot of expected items coming out, nothing surprising at all yet.
Yeah, I like the Gale Force on Graves as well. We've talked about this quite a lot, but items aside, Herald's going to go down, and that might give a bit of tempo back to Top Esports. There's good scouting there from JackeyLove. Speaking of tempo, though, Lyric, let's remind everyone of the comps, because we did talk a lot about the early game, the interaction of Taliyah from WE's side. I think it's important to note what we mentioned from Top Esports comp and how the draft goes with scaling, as they're keeping this game still pacing nicely.
Top Esports going back to that game one of like a kind of 5-man ball comp, right? You all want to be together. You want your tanks positioned in front, your carries in back, right? You coordinate your engages together with Malphite leading the charge and JackeyLove jumping onto the back line of their carries. For WE, it's a bit different, right? You have access to play through side lanes with something like the Ekko Taliyah combo. Might be a bit awkward because it is double AP, but theoretically at this point in the game, you should have enough burst. The other way is coming into team fights, right? You want those flanks coming in from Shanks. You want Breathe to find, you know, nice ultimates onto either 369 or Jgl to kind of bring them back into their team. So kind of 5v5 front-to-back team fight from Top Esports, side lanes, tempo, and flanks coming out for WE.
And it's a comp that also enables, like, really ingenious Weaver's Wall, right? You know, isolate a couple of members from Top Esports and Shanks to go in, you know, gap close over the wall. Jiumeng can do the same, Breathe even. So it feels like for WE, as you said in draft, a harder comp to execute, but one that can look really stylish if pulled off perfectly.
Yeah, I like that you bring up the Weaver's Wall, because just in general, not only that interaction, but just chaotic skirmishes, you know, if it's not a full-on front-to-back 5v5, if it is like a 2v2 here next to a 1v1 here, next to a 2v2 here, these more chaotic fights definitely favor the champions W have picked up, things like the Ekko, which is an assassin, things like the Samira, which does have just a bunch of burst, AoE, and mobility as well.
When Samira as well can get her ult off multiple times in a fight, that's crucial to know. Especially when it doesn't have any mana cost, or cooldown, excuse me. But Immortal Shield Bow with the Serrated Dirk in inventory, getting towards those second items here at 17 minutes in the game. WE still maintaining that gold lead. Keep an eye on that. But on the other side, that can easily be evened out when Karsa puts down his Rift Herald. He's been sitting on that for a while.
It looks like he wants to. Yep, we've seen that Karsa's been hovering for 369 for the past 30 seconds, so they are looking to answer on top side from WE taking the bot lane turret. They might not even necessarily need the Herald for this play, as Knight looking to aggress onto Shanks.
Unleash Power was trying to force out that Chrono Break, but he doesn't budge. Shanks, really nice holding of the ultimate there, while Top Esports eventually got the turret top.
It looks like, too, we're seeing a rotation come in from Karsa, 369 STP, so they can force a mid lane play with this wave that is coming up. Ooh, and 369 with the TP, so that is exactly what we're going to see with Dragon coming up in only 15 seconds. I really like this tempo play coming out from Top Esports.
Double teleport being channeled, though, so maybe it turns from tempo into an actual play. Phase Dive comes in, that clears the Herald, and Scatter the Weak after Knight teleports in. It means absolutely nothing. Dragon there, though. The first of the Cloud Rift. And WE, now with Mythics across the board, bar missing. Let's see how they approach the battle.
Yeah, sadly not even able to get river control off of that Herald. It was just a bit too early for them to really convert that into anything. So now we see both teams kind of contesting for mid-prio. One thing to note is that Top Esports are the team that has the pushing wave bot. So at worst, they'll always have at least an avenue to take this fight around.
Seismic Shove connects here onto 369. Breathe walking around blind vision. Ultimate is available. It's going to do a lot of damage from Sett, but only hits draw as a phase dive. Doesn't go into the parallel convergence yet. There's the Weaver's Wall. We talked about this, and it's sectioned off top Esports. Their tank and engage is down. They're now at a numbers disadvantage.
And 369 didn't even ult before he went down, had flash up as well, just kind of walked forward, didn't really respect the members of WE that much, and got chain CC to the point where he just went down, leads to the second dragon from WE, and the fight is definitely in WE's favor thus far. Again, they've been playing really well, it's been very patient, and I feel like Top Esports have kind of flopped multiple dragon setups, not only this game, but this series as a whole.
True. You know, there have been some crucial moments where Top Esports just haven't been playing the Vision game as well as WE as thank you for the red buff. You know, imagine being part of his family. You see him taken out of his home, thrown over the wall. You can't catch him, and then he dies when you don't even get to say your final goodbye. That's probably why they took out the little red minions. We'll take a look at this again. It was 369 getting cordoned off.
And right, 369 kept walking forward. We see the Sett ultimate come out. The Ekko W not able to hit anyone, but with Leona following up, 369 has been locked down this whole time, so not able to do anything to get away. I'm not sure what he was like quite looking for there. It seemed like he was just trying to zone them off and allow his team to continue to walk forward or potentially force WE in. But it turns out that was not what you wanted to do as 369.
No. Well said, Luke. Very well said. Definitely not.
Hindsight is, you know, very easy to use.
Yeah, no, I'm sure for 369 the exact same, right? You're sitting down here in this bottom lane with Breathe, a lane that's just going to keep being like this for a while, but I think crucially, my eyes are still towards mid. The two people in this game with bounties, and Knight has 227 CS in 21 minutes. He's got 2 items. He's now got the Seraph's Embrace, so there is a lot of burst damage available for the level 13 Syndra.
Yep, and let's remind anyone out there that Seraph's Embrace does not give a shield anymore. Now it just increases your maximum mana, but you also gain more ability power equal to your bonus mana, so it is going to be good for his late game burst as the game continues forward.
Missing is he caught out. Shield of Daybreak used first. 369 threatening, uses the Unstoppable Onslaught. Beishang is missed though. And now for the Zenith Blade, the re-engage. Malphite does pretty much nothing now. He's pretty much like a mountain up in the Swiss as JackeyLove comes in and Karsa with the collateral damage. Missing flashed out, but it was too late. That's a pick, but what do you have to go to?
Let's be honest though, Asterix. I think that was a pretty questionable Malphite ultimate from 369. Only using it on missing the tank. Didn't look like he was going to go down. They're kind of lucky that Karsa was able to get there in time and finish that one off with his ultimate, but Breathe getting caught out as well.
Challenger Smite, Haymaker Shield needs to come in, but doesn't get to pop it. Graves in 2021 with Collector is just going to be hell.
Also, we're seeing the power of the Gale Force here. We mentioned earlier that Karsa has traditionally preferred the Immortal Shield Bow in this tournament on Graves, but getting the mobility, realizing, hey, there's a lot of squishy members on the side of WE. If I can get in their face, I can pretty much just one-shot a lot of these guys, so...
It's great when you get the bonus movement speed from the Mythic passive as well. JackeyLove, well, Shanks, you're going to have to ult soon. Pops it out. Weaver's Wall zones them off, but I don't think Top Esports are scared. Looks like a pretty wall as well, as 369's getting zoned off on the side, and that's a good pick for WE. Pulverize doesn't connect, though, and the last turret shot is a miss. WE sending it back, and this game's getting pretty messy pretty fast.
I think you were right, Hysterics. I don't think Top Esports was scared, but they probably should have been with, you know, 369 going down. Karsa still looking for a potential avenue in, and now the TP coming in from Knight.
He's coming in pretty fast, but that's it, and they're gone.
With Karsa hovering towards top, I expected the famous, you know, Top Esports cheeky go onto Baron even when we're not supposed to because our top laner's down, but they aren't going for that play. We need to remember that 369's TP just came back up, so if any action breaks out, as it is...
Flashes in, yeah, he's by himself, gets the Trumble, but is he going to die? Well, yeah, because Jiumeng kills him in the end. Solar Flare used on the back line, and Top Esports now down a man. 369 is teleported in with Unstoppable Force, but this is like the uncleanest game I've seen in a while.
Yeah, this is... Okay, we're still going. Shanks looking for it, but
This
I mean,
feel
Dragons
like finals anymore.
Yeah, Dragons. The first 2 games definitely did. Dragon 30 seconds away. Both teams trying to look for picks. Again, Chua Jgl has been rough around the edges, but Top Esports now going for that parent play that I talked about.
All right,
Jgl is running from base.
Now, everyone, let's sober up. Get your minds into a good thought processes. Karsa's on the flank here into beishang, Missing at half health. Baron pulled away from. They don't know Karsa's here. Missing's walking into him. And the grave damage on a tank support is still gigantic.
Yeah, Karsa being so crucial, and this has been Karsa on Top Esports so far, right? He's had a bit of like average, regular splits, but whether it was at MSC, whether it was at Worlds, whether it's been in Demacia Cup, this man just always plays so well when Top Esports are in these, you know, more crucial moments.
The clutch factor, as it were. Karsa going to pick up the dragon here, ladies and gentlemen. That's 2 clouds apiece. Rather, 2 dragons apiece, I should be saying. And Top Esports with a lead here in this game. And we've quietened down for a little bit. 14 kills in 25 minutes. But Karsa crucially now on a bounty.
Now, for WE, you want to see them transition into playing with side waves, right? We have the Sett and the Ekko. They will win out in those side lane matchups, you know, respectively. Get push, hover over with Taliyah. You can look for, you know, a wall play into a pick, or you can even just hover with Ekko or Sett towards the mid lane. And again, get a tempo advantage and take a numbers advantage fight. So you have a lot of ways of finding picks with WE's comp. The question is, are they going to do that? Because typically we've seen them just default to mindlessly pushing side waves and then, you know, off of resets, grouping as 5 in mid lane.
True. It's funny because we didn't get a real chance to talk about it because of how chaotic and silly some of these engages have been. But, you know, we are at 25 minutes into the game and gold is relatively even. And it does feel like, you know, a lot of the power of Top Esports with these 3 items coming up is going to be a lot for, you know, like people like Shanks to ult in time, you know, people like Jiumeng to really utilize a longer fight, which he'd love with the Immortal Shield bow.
I definitely think if WE execute correctly on how we've been talking about, like playing through side pressure, finding the flanks with Shanks, that they should be favored in a lot of these team fights. The thing that we mentioned about Top Esports, though, is their comp is just kind of easier, right? Because it just stands in front of you. But WE's carries do have so much threat onto JackeyLove at night, which I think will be massive.
Good to note because it'll be up to Shanks. As you talked about, you know, this game does feel like it is in Shanks' hands. It's Baron 2.0. And we all know that the second movie's better than the first as Jgl zoning. He's by himself until over the wall. Missing's caught out. Karsa trying to do it again, but Shanks coming in for the flank. Look at where WE are as they set up through Breath's ultimate. Soulflare into the back line, but the AoE heaven again. Karsa going to kill Shanks. Chrono Break at the ready. Used on top, but Karsa survives while the rest of Top Esports head forward. A messy fight, but this time it favors Top Esports. Shanks without a prayer, and he does it again. Did it in Game 5 of the finals. Somehow, that scout of the week makes it all the way through the rocky surface.
Honestly, the member I want to highlight the most from Top Esports is Jgl, because we actually saw Breathe finding a really good ultimate onto Top Esports, but then Jgl hitting a 3 or 4-man headbutt pulverized combo, separating Breathe from the rest of his team, and it led to that massive win coming in from Top Esports. And we can take a look at it here, right, where Jgl's being the aggressor here, Missing, flashing away. Karsa trying to find the burst, but again, keep your eyes onto Breathe. Finds the ult, Jgl flashing out. Oh, no, I'm sorry. It's actually 369 who finds the ultimate. Again, hitting 4 men up. And it's the separation that Top Esports needed to kind of split up the members of WE and take this fight.
We'll have a look at this one again. I was impressed by this. Azale did a really good video on that, but I have to pause because Missing's just dead. This is not his game. 0-6-4. And while he had some great Sett performances on the Leona, being caught out a couple of times is to the detriment of WE against a Baron buff Top Esports.
Yeah, and TES now going to be in a great position to go for this siege, right? We don't have, like, amazing wave clear coming in from the side of WE. You have Samira, who's a very short-range carry. Ekko, melee champion, can only throw out his Time Winders. And then Taliyah having a bit of wave clear in her kit, but very cooldown reliant, so Top Esports definitely going to be able to just keep walking forward.
Shanks going on tonight. He's at half health. Weaver's wall used on the back. Knight's getting low, but Shanks can't re-engage. He's already used the Chrono Break, and now over the wall, Karsa with the Gale Force. That's ballsy as hell. Look at the size of this man as he gets pulled back in. Karsa alive, but now ignited down. Needs to auto something, but he dies in the end. While Top Esports go forward with the help of 369. It's a couple of stone tosses until Knight sends him into the wall. Beishang is down. And I was going to say, is this really a 3-0? It bloody well is, because Top Esports are still the best damn team.
And this ending is so anticlimactic. It came out of nowhere with Karsa just jumping over the wall.
And it's not over. 369 wants Shanks without an ulti.
It's over.
First Nexus turret down, sir. And Demacia championship ends just like that. They back in front of the Nexus. They smash Team WE. And Top Esports win Demacia championship running into 2021.
Really tense game 3. And just, again, good to see. Good to see from Top Esports.
Lift it up, lads. Your Demacia championship 2020 champions is Top Esports. Very well-deserved win. What people are calling the best team coming out of China are once again showing that they're strong with their new support, with what feels like a complete lineup. Top Esports dominate the competition. And this is what you want to see, Lyric. This is what you want to see going into 2021 LPL with their new...
What the team really needed him to play. Point is, it wasn't what he needed. But, you know, let's stop